Neville Goddard, 1964 lectures, God Has a Purpose. May 22nd, 1964. Tonight's subject is God has a purpose, an infinite purpose, and no one will thwart it. But within the framework of his purpose, you and I could have unnumbered objectives. And no one really could thwart it if we really understand his law. The law that was given to us, how we, too, can realize these purposes. A purpose, in a strict sense, is a deliberately conceived plan proposing a certain action or a plan to be executed within that action. Now, tonight, let us take it first in the most simple way. Many months ago, I asked a very simple question. Why did you create the universe? Just why? I never doubted that there is a God, for I stood in the presence of the Ancient of Days. But why? And the voice came from the very depth, hatching, just hatching. I, too, was in the middle of that question for many months. Why, just why? I think I spent 9 months in the serious, deep depths of that question. I'll unfold that and unpack that later, but I understand exactly what he's saying. And then after the answer to that question for me wasn't from the depth in a voice. It brought me literally to my teacher. Literally to move into a place right next door. Her house was here and her bookstore. She had a live-in bookstore. And the answer to my question brought me to live, I don't know how many paces. If I threw a rock mildly, it would be too close. It was that close. I was that close. I mean, you couldn't get any closer. That was the answer I got in the 3D. Why did you create the universe? Just why? I never doubted that there is a God, for I stood in the presence of the Ancient of Days. But why? And the voice came from the very depth, hatching, just hatching. So the very end of it all is hatching. There it is. If you were looking for the why, you can shut the video off now and go along your way. Bye. It's just hatching. It's hard to accept, but I'm here to tell you, man, with all the years I got in this subject and just telling you how I met my teacher and what put me there, grasping this concept is not easy, but it's simple. How do ideas come into physical reality? They go from in here and they get projected on the screen of space through hatching. We are the hatchers. So the very end of it all is hatching. Hatching what? He's hatching out himself. Who, by looking at a little worm, one of these little caterpillars, could ever predict his future as a painted butterfly? Why, by looking at an egg, not knowing the contents, who, by looking at an egg, not knowing the contents, could predict the beauty of the peacock or maybe another beautiful, beautiful bird? Who, by looking at man, could predict Jesus Christ? Who in this world, by looking at man, could see that man is but the egg, and out of man will come Jesus Christ? Not one will fail, for his purpose is that not one will be lost in all my holy mountain. And I got to remind you, my sister's nickname for me is Egghead. Or Egg. But within the framework of his purpose, you and I can take the same technique and we cannot fail. Now it is for hatching. Well, we are not nesting correctly if we ever fall asleep in any nest other than the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Boom! Listen to that sentence, man. Wow. Turn on your clip feature and listen to that 10 times. I will repeat it for fun. Well, now it is for hatching. Well, we are not nesting correctly if we ever fall asleep in any nest other than the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Man, oh man. For at night all the birds return to their nests. Through the day they have intervals upon that nest. You go out to make a living in the world of Caesar, and you may forget, and numberless things may happen that cause you to even forget for a moment that there is such a thing as a nest. But you must remember that there is on that nest that you built, as you prepared it or you conceived it, it's a deliberate, constructive plan on which you will sit. As we are told in Habakkuk, I will stand upon my watch and see what the Lord will say unto me and what I will answer. The next verse, every seed really has its own appointed hour. For he's telling us that all the visions, well, the vision is simply your little seed or your egg. The vision has its own appointed hour. It ripens, it will flower. If it be long, then wait, for it is sure, and it will not be late. Habakkuk 2:3. For there are different time intervals for all the different eggs of the world. I may have an egg based upon yearly income, or an egg based upon weekly income, or a monthly income. If I take it over a long period of time, well, then wait. If the first day, week, month, or even the first 6 months are slow, but I'm faithful to that egg, which is a yearly income, at the end of the year, I will look back upon the most fantastic year I've ever had. So, in the course of a day, I will fly from that nest and do all kinds of things and forget. But at night, let me return to that nest and keep that seed warm, keep that egg warm, and then do, as we're told in Habakkuk, I will stand upon my watch, and I will watch to see what the Lord will say unto me and what I will answer. Well, then the Lord is simply the whole vast world pushed out. For the Lord is I am. So I am sitting on this state, and then I look upon my world. My world is myself fragmented, and that is what the Lord is saying unto me. When I think of my friends and see them mentally in my mind's eye, what are they saying? Are they congratulating me? Always. Am I accepting their praise graciously? Always. Well, then I will now sit upon this nest and fall asleep in this assumption, in this state, for I am standing upon my watch and watching to see and to hear what the world, the Lord, will say unto me and what I will answer. What is my response when they say what they must say, seeing me as their friend so successfully lifted up in this world? So if you will do that night after night, no power in the world can stop me from bringing forth from that egg, which is simply my assumption, all that it is implying if I will do it. I may leave it and not really sit upon the egg. We have seen that in all the barnyards of the world, for eggs are dropped and no one thinks in terms of ever warming them or incubating the egg. But you and I, if I know what purpose really means, purpose in the strict sense is a deliberately conceived plan proposed for action or executed in it. I plan a campaign and that action, but not only the action, something must be executed in it. Why am I planning the campaign? To sell merchandise. I plan a campaign or plan the campaign of war. Why? That I may be victorious in this action. So I will execute this plan, in the action that I have now proposed. Well, the action is simply this night I will stand upon my watch and watch to see what and hear what he will say unto me and how I will answer, knowing in my heart that the vision has its own appointed hour. It ripens, it will flower, and if to me it seems long, then let me wait, for it is sure and it will not be late. So I simply stand on my nest and go to sleep in that state. If in the course of a day I can't come back to it too often, it wouldn't addle. If I am faithful night after night, it will not addle. Just before I came on the platform, not more than 1 minute before my dear friend who is here this night, she said about 2 years ago, a friend of hers won what she called, and I have never heard of this award before until tonight. It's called a Lulu. It's like an Oscar in the fashion world. And so it's given to some lady in the fashion field, whether you be in department stores, TV, radio, well, any aspect of displaying your fashion. She said when the friend won it, I'll win one too. She did it just as lightly as that. I'll win one too. But she did something about it, and tonight she brought it. It's in her purse, this lovely Lulu. It's a little statuette, a first prize for her work. Only recently has she joined the May Company, and so for the May Company, she's been doing all of their displays, all of their advertising, and she won the Lulu. Just did it naturally. And this is not just for this city. Every state west of the Mississippi is within that picture of the Lulu. So I tell you, sit upon your nest and let it hatch out. Everything comes out this way. But if you don't have a definite objective, well, you can't, so that you either succeed or that you fail. But God has a purpose, and his purpose is to bring forth from man Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ is God himself. He's bringing out of us Jesus Christ. He will not fail. As we are told, as I have planned it, so shall it be. As I have purposed, so shall it stand. Isaiah 14:24. And the anger of the Lord will not turn back until he has executed and accomplished the intents of his mind. In the latter days you will in the latter days you will understand it clearly. Jeremiah 23:20. In the latter days, you will understand why you went through all the things in this world. I tell you, because out of you is actually coming Jesus Christ. He could not emerge from man were he not actually present in man. So at this very moment, he's buried in every being in the world. And God is bringing him forth. When he brings him forth, he brings forth himself. And it's you. But while he is bringing him forth, he has given us his own talent. The talent of using our imagination to create everything in this world. A letter given me this past week from this young lad who is here tonight, he said, I found myself in the high school, and my teacher was the Latin teacher. Her name was Miss Divine. And as I entered, there was an examination taking place. And so I sat. On the board were 2 columns. There were 21 problems. On the right side, there were from 0 to 10, say 11 problems. On the left side, from 11 to 20. Down in the middle of the column on the right side, there were 2 words that I had to define. They were separated by a word which I couldn't quite discern, but the 2 words were crucifixion and resurrection. The left-hand column, there were 11 to 20, and I couldn't discern the words save 2, and the words were map and route. And so I took my paper, I began to define crucifixion, and I defined it by quoting the words of Paul from the 2nd chapter of Galatians. I have been crucified with Christ. It is not I who live, but Christ who lives in me. Ooh, verse 20. That's how he put down the definition of crucifixion. Whoa. Then he discovered that his paper wasn't big enough for all the answers. So he turned to Miss Divine. Bear in mind the name of this teacher, Miss Divine. So he turned to Miss Divine and asked her for permission to go and get a piece of paper. She said to him, go to my desk and get a piece of paper. So he did. He came back with a larger sheet On his way back, he realized that in his pockets were all the answers to all these questions on a smaller piece of paper. So he sat down and tried to transfer from the smaller piece of paper to the test paper all of the answers. And then suddenly the test was halted, and then all the test papers were collected. Then Miss Devine began to read the answers as she got all these test papers together. As she turned first to the left column to the words map and route, and she said, Neville Goddard has the map and the correct route. If anyone wants the map and the correct route, let them go to Neville Goddard. So delicious. With that, it was all dismissed, and then he took his papers and tore them up into shreds and started towards the exit to throw them into the wastebasket. She asked him for the papers. At first he said no, and then she glared at him, and with that he gave her these torn pieces of paper. Then, with his books in his hands towards the exit, he walked out saying to himself, I am expelled. Then it was early in the morning. As he woke, wrote the whole thing down in detail as I've just told it to you, and then fell asleep. And this is the epilogue. The epilogue is marvelous. He heard a voice, and the voice was the voice of the broadcaster, the announcer of the Angels, the baseball game. Bear in mind, they're the Angels, not the Dodgers. They're the Angels. And this Don Whale, said, this is the fourth game that the Angels have played in the last 24 hours, and there are 400 people present. Remember the four? The fourth game in 24 hours, and there are 400 people present. 4 is the door? Well, 400 is the numerical value of the 22nd letter of the Hebrew alphabet, which is Tau, T-A-U. And it has the symbolical value of a cross. Remember, he defined only one word. He defined crucifixion. The 400 were present. So he defined the crucifixion in his test. And then there were 4 games. That's the 4th letter, which is Deles, which is a door. Boy, the symbol's just popping off in this one. He said, I am the door. Anyone who comes through any other way other than through this door, and I am the door, is a thief and a robber. John 10:9. 24 in the mystical Hebrew is a horse. It's blank space, and that is the mind. The whole thing is coming out of the mind of man. It's the mind that man has to control. That is the horse, the unbridled beast that must be broken in by man and ridden by man himself. And so he found the horse, told in the form of a number, in 24 hours. He found the door, I am the door, in the form of a number, 4 games. You wouldn't play 4 games in 24 hours, and then there were 400 people present. They do get very, very small audiences, I grant you that, but not 400. They haven't fallen that low. But bear in mind, they were angels. They were not Yankees, not these, angels. All of this is symbolism. Well, what strikes me forcefully in the entire picture is not that Miss Divine, there's the name, she's the teacher, said that Neville Goddard has the map and the correct route. I love that in the picture. But what really to me is significant in the entire vision is this quote from Paul in the definition of the crucifixion. For when I stood in the presence of the Ancient of Days, and he asked me, what is the greatest thing in this world? I too quoted Paul. I answered in the words of Paul, faith, hope, and love. These 3 abide, but the greatest of these is love. 1 Corinthians 13:13. And that infinite love embraced me. At that infinite love embraced me, and I fused with him and became one forever with the body of God. And I wonder, after his letter to me, do we all answer in the words of Paul? I'm asking a question. He shared with me his experience. I hope you will share with me your experience when a similar vision takes place with you, for I answered in the words of Paul, and he answered in the words of Paul. He answered the one question, the crucifixion, and it came up in the epilogue. There were 400 people present at the angel game, and that's the crucifixion. And so when you think the greatest figure in Christendom is Paul, really, who has done for Christianity what Paul has done? You ask yourself 1,000 times over, who then is the one who first awoke? Who is he that awoke? If we read the Gospels and the evangelists are Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Anonymous names, unknown, completely unknown. No one knows who they are. And then you ask yourself this question concerning this fantastic creature that is Paul, the little one. Paul means little. And he is the little one. Then he tells you that I am a descendant of Abraham of the tribe of Benjamin. Benjamin means son of the right hand. The Lord said unto my Lord, sit thee at my right hand until I make of thy enemies a footstool for thee. Hebrews 1:13, Matthew 22:44. You ask, all kinds of things go through the mind concerning who is this one that we call the little one, that is Paul. He never defined his faith. He never denied his faith. In fact, he insisted that his religion was not a new religion. It was the fulfillment of one as old as the faith of Abraham. He never gave up the Hebrew religion. He only saw the flower, the fulfillment of it. To him, the whole thing was the unfolding of all that was prophesied and promised to Abraham. So Christianity was simply the fulfillment of the faith of Abraham. We have in the Western world these great religions, the religion of Islam, which is complete kismet, fatality, complete. They call themselves, most of them are named, and there are 400 million of them. Abdullah, slave of Allah, complete slave of Allah. Then comes this great rock, the Hebrew religion, and it begins with faith, Abraham. He believed the promise made by God, God would fulfill. And he was able to fulfill it, and the promise was an heir. All the way through, the promise continues in changing form. I will raise up after you a son that will come forth from your body. I will be his father, and he shall be my son. 2 Samuel 7:12. That's the promise made to us. Raise up out of us a son that will be God's son. God will be his father, and that which he pulls out of us will be his son. Something so unlike the form that we see here, and unlike the form called man as the butterfly is unlike the caterpillar, as unlike this glorious winged creature to the egg. So we are told in Philippians, our country is in heaven, from which we await a Savior, the Lord Jesus Christ, who will reform and change our lowly body to be like his glorious body by the power by which he is able even to subject all things to himself. Philippians 3:20. The word translated change to be like means literally to be of one form with him. Actually, something is coming out of every being in this world that is Jesus Christ. And the form is that glorious form that is the form of God. Return unto me the glory that was mine, the glory that I had with thee before the world was, John 17:5. So he gives man himself. He brings out of man his egg, himself. He is hatching it out, and he is faithful. All he's asking of us that we be as faithful or try to be as faithful as we can to our modified desires as he is to his grand scheme, which is to bring forth out of man himself. For he's bringing out of man himself. No one's going to fail because we aren't doing it. But while he's bringing it out, he's asking us to take the talent that he gave us while we are being turned over and over in this world, to take that talent and become what we want to be in this world. Do it for ourselves or do it for others. You can take any being in this world if you are faithful. And the faithful time is when you have the unbroken few hours of the night, just as you are settling down to retire into the deep, and you know the day's over, and you're simply going to relax into some state. Take that moment, and then stand upon your watch and view the world to see what the Lord is going to say to you. The Lord being the fragmented I am. Everything that you're doing, you're saying, I am doing it. So that's the Lord viewing his fragmented self. And see what it is saying to you. Is it sympathizing? Get off that nest. It is now with great empathy. Is it now with great empathy? All right, good. Sympathy? No. Get out of there. Empathy? Yes. Are they rejoicing with you? All of them? Because of your good fortune? Stay on that nest. Stay on that nest. And go sound asleep viewing the world from your watchtower, knowing in your heart that what you are sitting on mentally has its own appointed hour. It is ripening and it will flower, and if to you, because of your anxiety, it seems long, you know you must wait, for what you're doing is sure and it will not be late. This is exactly how I manifested the cruise. Manifest whatever. It's on the screen of space. In my experience, in August of 2024, I started in March of 2023, and for about 4 to 6 weeks, I imagined that cruise. I imagined this specific glass being handed to me each time I went into that imagination. As I fell asleep, I did that. Pretty much at least maybe 4 to 5 nights a week. Every week for about 5 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. And then I saw my wife just get deeply into planning this thing that was to follow a year later. If you want the best experience, that kind of planning delivers the best experience. But I let her do that whole thing. I imagined it here, and at the top of the Fairmont Hotel in Monte Carlo, here's the glass handed to me that I had in my imagination in March and maybe a little bit of April of 2023. It was handed to me in August of 2024. The physical glass was not this exact glass. I bought these to match, but that was what I imagined. I bought these after I got back. So we're told that his promise is faithful and sure. These promises are not some little thing done because of some emergency. They were done of old, and they are faithful and sure. We are told. And they are faithful and sure, we are told. Not something that suddenly, because of some plan in the world of man, that God is now instituting some emergency thinking. No, his plans are of old. Man is allowed all the freedom in the world to make all the mistakes in the world. Perfectly all right. He will correct it. He doesn't condemn man. He corrects man. He corrects all kinds of things, but allows us, within the framework of his purpose, to do anything in this world that we desire. He doesn't have the same code that man tries to impose upon man. He allows us quite a wide range of everything in this world. So I say, God has a purpose, and his purpose is to bring forth himself out of his egg called man. What a beautiful picture. But while the egg, called man, is living in the world of Caesar, he allows it to use a certain talent. The talent is the gift he gave of himself, which is man's imagination. What a blessed gift. Wow. And in there, my aside here, is the eternity. Man can take his imagination and create anything in this world. Anything in this world. You think of this story of the Lulu, for here is a lady who only recently started working for the May Company. And how many artists must there be between the Mississippi and the West Coast who simply wanted that? It's written fifth prize, but I'm sure it's meant to be first prize. This is a first prize. This is not something down into the bottom of the barrel. This is the Lulu. I never heard of it until tonight, so she brought it in her purse and picked it up. It's like an Oscar. It is an Oscar to those who are in her profession. And this covers the entire waterfront. This is not confined to department stores. It is confined to TV or to radio or to moving pictures, but to every aspect of the art world where ladies are involved in fashion. And she gets it. She's only been there a few months, and she gets it because she wanted it. And she knows the principle. And the others who I think by her own confession will be equally talented, they didn't know the principle. So they didn't sit upon the nest and simply view it as she did. So she sat upon the nest. So I say to every one of you, don't get off that nest until it hatches out. And then go for a bigger nest and still a bigger nest. You must see it work. And then go for the next thing, and then the next thing, and don't stop. Keep the momentum going, period. If anyone tells you that you shouldn't want things, turn a deaf ear to them. Completely turn a deaf ear to them. You're not going to be enslaved by things if you know this principle. You'll get things, and you'll be quite willing to drop them on the way, but you'll simply test your talent. You are exercising your talent, and a talent that isn't exercised is like the limb that is not exercised. It atrophies. It does. And so day after day, you must take your dreams, your noble purposes, and simply settle down and test. Take your dreams, your noble purposes, and simply settle down and nest them and simply bring them to pass in your world. Everyone will hatch out, for we are told, not one is lost in all my holy mountain. Not one child born of woman will ever fail to bring forth what God has demanded. And God demands only one thing. I will raise up out of you a son that will come forth from your body. I will be his father, and he shall be my son. That son will say of his father, I and my Father are one. Because he is the creative power and the wisdom of God. John 10:30. So when he comes forth personified, he will say of the very power that drew him out of that body, I am the power and the wisdom of God. 1 Corinthians 1:24. I am he. You are he. And everyone will come out. Not one will fail. So I tell you, try it. Try it over and over and over, and don't ever admit failure. Don't for one moment admit it. Do not ever imagine that you failed to manifest your desire. Do not do that. Just persist and do it again. Do it again. Go again. Do it again. Any of you who know how to play the I'm I'm just finishing up polishing the 33 songs that are now making up the list. It was 24, then 25, then 28, then 29, then 30, then it's 33 songs right now. After this, I got to go polish at least 3 for tonight's practice. Practice. We have to practice together. And then we have another practice. But on our own, we're constantly practicing on our own to perfect a skill. Then together we perform a concert, a togetherness. A concert is together. At practice, if you make a mistake, we don't dwell on it. We go again. Make a mistake again, you go again. With this group of guys, I am running to keep up with them. And if they make a mistake, which is very rare, they make it once. Once. I've only ever seen them ever make a mistake one time each. And they never repeat the mistake. They never do. They blow my mind, man. I can come in there, and if I'm not polished on a song, I admit it first, and then I just try and float through. But, you know, they're 3 brothers, by the way, and I am running to keep up with them because they have that many seasons under their belt of these skill sets, guitar and drums and guitar and singing, and it's a wonder to behold. I'm sitting there at practice and I am just in awe of it. I'm just like, thank you, Father. Thank you, Father. But back to the concept, we have to practice to become better. Perfect, if you want to use that word. Don't like that word a whole lot because I don't believe there's anything that's perfect in the world. But after you get to a certain point, you realize it's all been perfect. That's a different level of understanding, though. It's getting past the striving for perfect. You get to a point where you realize the whole thing was perfect. That's a whole nother level of understanding. But practice manifesting. Don't talk about or focus on failing. I don't want to cuss because I like these videos to go far and wide. But for the F of all there is, don't effing give up. Don't effing focus on the failure. The F word, right? Don't focus on fail. Don't focus on not. Don't focus on oops. Just go again. Just go again. Go again. Go again. How do you think all these great, wonderful bands have succeeded the way they do? And if you like music, which everyone does, any music you hear, I don't care if it's classical, to jazz, to rock and roll, to pop, to whatever. All those musicians had to put in the hours and go again, and go again, and go again. Everybody in any craft has to go again. Anything. I don't care if you're an apprentice and a plumber and a carpenter. It doesn't matter what the field is. You think a politician and his public speaking skill set was born out of him just automatically? No. What do you think Toastmasters is? And if anybody here wants to learn about speaking, you go to a group of people called Toastmasters, and they help you go again. And they criticize and they help you. They have a technique where they say a positive thing, and then they say the critical thing, like to criticize to make it better. Then they say a positive thing again. They have a whole process. It's wonderful. Toastmasters is a wonderful situation to help you go again. It's a very wonderfully created system of support to help you. And this manifesting concept needs that. Maybe I'll create that. I mean, behind the scenes, I'm creating so many things, but on the surface, you're catching these lectures one at a time. But there's so many things to brew because there's so much here to learn. But the main thing to learn, if I had to boil it all down to one thing, is just have the courage to go again. Just go again. Go again. Do not focus on it not working. Focus only on it is done. It does work. It is working. I already see it done. Here's an example. Our wonderful puppy, he got a some kind of growth on between his anus and his nads. Between those two areas, there's a spot, And on there grew a bubble, and it wasn't because of his glands, because we had him to the vet, and they couldn't figure it out. They tested it's like a fluid in there, a little sac. So they tested it. It's nothing. There's no problem. It's not bacterial, so they can't give it antibiotics. It's nothing but just like a surprise. And so I went into imagining that it's gone, it's done, etc. And I did that right off the bat, right when we got it, right before, even before I took him to the vet. This is nothing. It's going to go away and it'll be gone before you know it. Well, the vet did all their tests and all these things, and hundreds of dollars later, we find out that it's nothing. It's basically like a benign thing. It's like nothing. It's no big deal. Just watch it, and if it gets bigger, let them know. And if we want to have surgery for it, we can get a cost for that, but we don't need it. So as I still have the faith. It's gone already. Look how wonderful he is now again, like new. This morning, this has been over about the last couple weeks, and and I've just kept the faith. I haven't changed anything. I just kept the faith, and my wife will look at it and goes, "Is it getting bigger? Is it getting smaller?" And she's like, looking at it. She's being the rational mind, and I'm being the magical mind in this situation, in this shared scenario. And so I just keep the faith. This morning, it's pretty much almost gone. It's pretty much almost completely gone. This is a small example of what faith can do and what imagining can do. A very small example. And yes, I would say I am definitely emotionally attached to the outcome because we love our puppy. Not really a puppy, he's 5 years old, but we love our doggy. There's emotions involved for sure. So it is okay to have faith and be attached to an outcome, but you just take it for it's done. You arrive and you have the conviction. If you don't see it working, go again. Fall asleep, go again. So I tell you, try it. Try it over and over and over, and don't ever admit failure. Don't for one moment admit it. The most impossible thing in this world, still try it. For here, we will not accept paganism. We will start with Israel. That's where the whole creative world starts, really. And it's based upon faith. Christianity is the fulfillment. If an Orthodox Jew will not believe that it happened, all right, he will eventually. At least he has the faith that it is going to happen. But I tell you that it has happened. But I will go back now to that definition of my friend Tom with the crucifixion and go to another aspect of it, which you find in the 6th chapter of Romans. He took his from the 2nd chapter of Galatians. But the 6th chapter of Romans, if we have been united with him in a death like his, we shall certainly be united with him in a resurrection like his. Verse 5, powerful. So now Paul, the same grand Paul, is now saying to his, what he calls my son Timothy, and he said, there are those who are teaching that the resurrection is past already. They are misleading the people and turning them from their faith. 2 Timothy 2:18. His condemnation of those who said it was past already once and for all is, well, you can't quite describe the condemnation, uncompromising. It's not past once and for all. It took place and is taking place and will continue to take place until everyone gives up that Son of God. It's the Son of God in man that is buried that makes man alive. Were it not for the Son of God in man, then there would be no living being in this world. So if I have been crucified with him, all right, I have enjoyed that death. I'm crucified with him, and in that crucifixion, I have union with him. Now, certainly, I will also be united with him in a resurrection like his. Well, I can tell you from experience, it has happened to me. So I know the joy of the union in my crucifixion with him, and I now experience the joy in my resurrection with him. It's one. I do not differ from any child that walks the face of this earth. We're all one. I can't share with you that body which he has transformed to be like his glorious body. I can't share with you that body which he has transformed to be like his glorious body. I tried it once and didn't quite succeed in revealing the glory of the body that is one. But she is not far off from seeing it for herself. But here, it's the most fantastic glory, the joy of this body. Human face, yes. I will recognize you. Question mark. Certainly, forever and forever. But I can't describe the glory of the body. It's something entirely different. So we are subject to this humiliation of these bodies of blood, bodies of flesh, but not for long. And so if someone this night, like my friend Tom, who has had this experience, and you will say, well, why should he have it? No one knows Tom's background. No one knows how long he has been treading this winepress in this world. No one knows it. And so if in many ways you may think he is young or even limited in expression, don't. Exclamation point. Because the minute it happens to one, limitations fall away. These things that seem so wonderful here that we acquired through labor will not be used, because it's all then a creative power in operation. So don't judge anyone. And may I tell you, if perchance you should entertain such a thought, bear in mind the story of Job. Job's story is the story of man. Here is the most cruel experiment ever performed on an innocent being, that which is performed on Job. Job, in the very end, didn't condemn the Lord. He thought the Lord was justified in everything that he did. That can make me cry right off the bat right there, man. And then he turned from himself, for he felt sorry for himself, and he prayed for his friends. And as he prayed for his friends, his own captivity was lifted. Job 42:10. So turn from self to a friend and wish them well. Well, that's really what love is. To wish a friend well and sincerely wish him well. May I tell you what will happen to you? You simply bloom. Out of nowhere, things that are now hidden from you will come into view, and they're all yours by sincerely wishing a friend well. So when Job turned from himself and prayed for his friends, his own captivity was lifted. So that is what we're here to do. Turn to someone this night, I don't care who he is, who she is, and see them in your mind's eye in some blessed state. And feel the thrill that will be yours as a friend, because they are what you're now representing them to yourself as being. I do it all the time. It's the best thing there is when you see the bloom around you. Someone once said, well, let me give you this story. I might as well. It won't leave the front of my mind. My friend calls me 2 days ago. His name is also Gilbert. And I know he won't tread through these videos, so he won't see this testimonial, but he'll be part of it later as I give you an update. 2 days ago, we're talking about this. There's a bunch of melee happening in downtown LA right now. And he called me about that because he likes talking about these kinds of things. And I was talking to him, we're talking back and forth. And then he tells me, we were talking about AI, and he's using AI to help fix his resume. And I don't buy into what he's getting at. But then towards the end of the conversation, he then talks about the contract changeover at his company. He's in Hawaii, and his company's changing contract holders, and they kind of wait till the last 2 weeks before they say to everybody there, yeah, you guys are coming with us into the new contract. So he has to, you might have to give your resume and give the new company the reason you should be there, and which they're all highly qualified to do just that, and no one else can do it. I mean, it has to be somebody very special to do what they do. So I know what he's getting at, but we hang up. That's two nights ago, I believe. And then, so yeah, 2 nights ago. And then yesterday, I talked to him in the morning because he works a late shift, like 2 p.m. in Hawaii time, I think 1:30 or 2 till, like that swing shift kind of shift. So I talked to him while he's in the morning time, like 10:30 my time or 11 my time. So it's like, whatever, a couple hours later there. So anyway, I ask him, what do you want? He wants to be, he gives me a title, but not this title, but he'll take that title because it's more money, but not the title that comes with this responsibility, but because this title has the same name, but here's the title he's at now. He doesn't mind going in at that title, but this title's better because more money, but not with that responsibility that goes with it. So I'm like, okay. So I said to him, what's it like? Congratulations on that new position with that new title. And I named the title. I go, what's it feel like? And imagine I'm right there with you. I'm high-fiving you right now. I went ahead and verbally did it with him because he knows me from way back. We know each other from way back in 1990, in 89, when I started going to Hawaii after the Navy. He was living there. He was stationed there in Barbers. And then I basically was going there then. So even before I got into metaphysics, and then when I got into metaphysics in 91, we were still going back and forth to Hawaii and staying at his house. So he knows me through all my changes. From shipmate, I have at least 3 best friends that we're always in contact, almost text every day, these people that I know. But this particular guy, Gilbert, he knows me through all these changes. So then now at this point where I'm sharing with him my imagining lovingly for him, he's not foreign to things I might say. He knows I'm going to come at him with all kinds of stuff. And I have, and he's had some very positive, impactful things happen in and around his job situations from our conversations. And so I just threw that at him. And I haven't even went back to it again because I'm in the Sabbath. But I will do it again now that I'm explaining it to you and sharing it. And I'm not trying to dilute it. I'm trying to share with you that it is the care and concern outside of yourself that has such an impact. And you see it work, and it's dumbfounding when you hear the voice come back to you and tell you the words verbatim. And in this case, I shared it openly with him because that's our history. But normally I won't share it with somebody. I'll just do it. And I'll faith, conviction, I go on the Sabbath, it's done. Same thing with Job. Job was getting his ass burned. He felt like he was getting roasted by God. Then he wanted to face him. But then he turned. He turned to helping his brother. It's the simplest and fastest way to see this material work. Do it for others because you're not emotionally attached to the outcome like you are with yourself. With yourself, you're so reliant on that outcome. You're putting all your eggs in one basket, so to say. But when you do it for others, your eggs aren't in one basket. They're just simply getting doled out all over the place. And you see it just pop off. It just happens. Stuff just happens, and you see it work. You have to go that route. You have to go like Job and consider your friends before yourself so you can see the magic of this. Once you see the magic, then you slowly start doling it to yourself. Then you see it happen, then you grow it and grow it and grow it. Turn to someone this night, I don't care who he is, who she is, and see them in your mind's eye in some blessed state. And then feel the thrill that will be yours as a friend, because they are what you're now representing them to yourself as being. Someone once said, and for years I had to agree with them, and even to this day I would go along with them, that if someone is hurt, 1,000 will rush in sympathy. And if some member of the neighborhood falls heir to a fantastic fortune, you don't find the joy, you find envy. So, we have so many words to express sympathy, compassion, and all these things, but possibly one which is not a good word in a sense because it isn't known. You speak of empathy. How many people even know what the meaning of the word is when you use it? So it isn't used. It's used in cultured society among the educated. They know the meaning of the word, but they don't use it because it's not in use. They will use it in their writing, and someone reading their works will rush to the dictionary for definition of the word because we're not given to rejoicing with those who have good fortune smile upon them. Congratulations. Congratulations. Isn't it wonderful? Thank you, Father. In fact, one of the disciples whose name is only mentioned among the 12, he's not mentioned saying that he's one of the 12, is Thaddeus. And Thaddeus means praise. You've got to get this one down, man. Because how else do you accept praise from somebody else? It's Thaddeus. When I was imagining the cruise, that's what I was imagining. It was praise of me and congratulating me right there in that situation on that boat. I think that brought it to bear so fast. It's so little exercised by man that there is no story of Thaddeus in the Bible. There's knock on. That's the tip. Think about it. He's only called. He is called. He has to be part of the awakened man. For the awakened man must have Thaddeus within him awake. But in the actual story, he isn't there. Remember, if you're going to congratulate somebody on their new position or their new job or like my friend in Hawaii, he's going to get that position. He's going to get the other position, and it's going to have not the responsibility, but the higher pay. He already has it. Right now, as I paused, I am already high-fiving him because he comes to Disneyland almost every year, every other year with his family, and his next trip. I'm already high-fiving him right now. So the Western Gate, so the touch is right there. The awakened man must have Thaddeus within him awake, but in the actual story, he isn't there. He's only named among them. And he's the 10th disciple. And the word is praise. How many of us can rejoice when we hear of the good fortune of another? This is a big, big piece. This is a big, big piece. Listen to that question. How many of us can rejoice when we hear of the good fortune of another? We wonder, why didn't it happen to me? That's the reaction. You read it in the morning's paper. Someone won $150,000 with a $2 bet, some daily double in Florida or someplace or down in Caliente, and instantly you say, I wish I had it. No one thinks of the joy in that household that moment when he goes home to his family with $100,000 in cash. We think, why didn't I make it? So really, empathy is an empty word until it becomes so alive that we use it as frequently as we use sympathy. the story of Job is definitely one of empathy. Absolutely. We can sympathize with one who lost his home because he had a hot tip and put the house down on the horse that didn't come in. Oh my goodness. I can't even imagine this kind of speculation. I have a friend who loves the horses too, but it's funny. We can sympathize with his wife at home who must now give up the house, but we cannot rejoice with her when he comes home with the fortune. So Job rejoiced in the good fortune of his friends, and as he did so, his own captivity was lifted. So to come back to our theme, which is God has a purpose. That end you can accept as Abraham accepted it. He heard the promise, he believed it, and then in spite of the hell of the 400 years in this land where he was a stranger, where he was a slave of slaves, he still remembered the promise. He believed the one who promised was capable of fulfilling that promise. And then he rejoiced that he was to see my day. He saw it and was glad. John 8:56. And went through hell, faithful to the promise made to him by God. Not one will be lost. And so you become that. I tell you, he's coming out of you. One that is completely glorified, and the body he wears is the body of God. Not some little tiny thing. Something is coming out of all of us that is the most glorified thing in this world. It's an immortal body, and the body is the body of God. But before it comes out and you wear it and you are one with the immortals, while you are still telling the story and moving through the world of Caesar, use the same talent to play your own part of sitting on your nest. Night after night, take the most glorious idea. If you're in business, augment it, double it, treble it. I love that new word I learned. I'm involved in music. I'm the bass player though, okay? So treble. I did not know it meant triple. I love learning things, and believe me, I love learning, and it's the most, you gotta just admit it when you don't know something, and then you learn it, and it's like, wow, that's neat. That really is neat. The word treble, that's fascinating. Thank you, Neville. Thank you, Father. Night after night, take the most glorious idea. If you're in business, augment it, double it, treble it. Let no one tell you that you're too hungry, you're too anxious. Forget what they're saying. You double it. You're making an X number of thousands a year. Double it. You treble it. And test God and see if it doesn't work. And so when you go to bed this night, you sit on your nest of an income and you name it. What is the big deal of adding a zero? Even two zeros. What's the big deal? It's only right there. And so when you go to bed this night, you sit on your nest of an income and you name it, and then stand upon your watch and see what God is saying to you. And God speaks to you through the faces of every person in this world that you contemplate. So you think of me, and you've just written me the most fantastic letter of your good fortune, and hear me tell it from the platform. There it is right there. Neville's given the massive piece right there. Oh man, listen to that. God speaks to you through the faces of every person in this world that you contemplate. So you think of me, Neville, and you've just written me the most fantastic letter of your good fortune, and hear me tell it from the platform. Boom. So think of me this night telling from the platform your good fortune. Think of your mother, if you have one in this world, or if not in this world, she's still in this world, for the world is simply sections within sections. So think of her. Don't think because she's not physically present, she's not aware of it. This one has overwhelmed me lately. I have to share it. This one has really gotten into me lately. My mother's not here. She left the party quite early in my experience, and that'll be a different video where I unpack that whole thing, my whole trip, but it was early. But I have, in the past couple months, what is this? This is June? June of 2025. I would say June, May, April, March. My birthday was in March, of course, turning 59. I turned 59. I would say right in this new year for me that the overwhelming concept has come within me. Don't think because she's not physically present, she's not aware of it. I've had experiences with people, and even recently, where I recognize, again, to me, everybody is God. I can't tell you how much I firmly believe and know and understand that. It is a fact in here. We're all Him. I know that. It's not a doubt whatsoever in my being that when I see you, I see Him. And when I see a reflection in the glass, I see Him. I have no doubt there. It's automatic in me. But what's happened within me lately is when I have a fond memory of somebody who was giving me a good turn. If you're not familiar with that phrase, you might have heard the phrase, one good turn deserves another. People that were good to you in your life. I have fond memories, because if I see you as Him, and I see in the reflection of the glass Him, then we are Elohim, whatever. Then all of our experiences are Him, His plan, unfolding. So in all the good turns I've had, and I've had many, I am so thankful and so gracious that a good memory pops in and they just come. I don't know. I am not in charge of why or where, but they come. All right? A story is one of a gal that had an enlarged heart and recently passed 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. Well, when I was living on the same street as her in my friend's house before I joined the Navy, she was very good to me. She'd take me to the store. There was a liquor store there. She'd buy me cigarettes. She'd put them on her account. Just a very good friend. And when our best friend, the house I was staying at, when he passed, she was at his wake, and I was there too. And I remember she grabbed a hold of me and flung me around like a rag doll. She's a big gal. She flung me around like a rag doll, and I mean to tell you, she was like, Gilbert, and she's just flinging me around. My legs are literally flying in the air, and I'm just like, she goes, you remember me? And I go, yes, I do, of course. So it was, she also, so the memory, that's the wake, and then I jumped to the memory of how good she was to me at this certain time when I was at a very low point. She was very, very kind and very, very good, and was a good friend to all of us. She was like one of the guys, basically. And it traveled through me, the appreciation, the graciousness of the whole thing, of the experience, and just my being truly thankful. And I've already gone through Ho'oponopono, and I know that very well. I appreciate what Dr. Hugh Lin brought to us in the world of focus of love and gratitude. So, in myself thinking about this girl who's already gone from this world, I just right there thanked her just graciously. But I thanked her in a revision where I was actually walking with her to that store we used to walk to and get cigarettes, let's say. I was in walking with her, thanking her and being very in gratitude and loving. In the memory, it was a revision memory where I'm active going fourfold. I was going fourfold in it. So I was in the memory, revising the memory, going fourfold, and seeing my action change in the memory and being in gratitude and in love with her as an angelic being in my experience. is about the best way I can describe this. I'm trying to use words to describe love. Come on. So that has happened with me, like I said, in the last several months, that I get these memories pop in and of people that are gone and or people that are just gone out of my life. And I just have moments that I find very wonderful, and I'm very thankful and loving to the person that I shared the situation with or the moment. It isn't that they don't know, they receive. Even if they're not physically here, as Neville just stated. But even if they are physically here and they're in another state, or they're in another state and you don't even talk to them anymore or anything like that, there's no social on this or media, no social media, I mean, you still are thankful, and they will and do receive the message. They just do. It is so wondrous. It is so wondrous. You have to practice it. Think of your mother, if you have one, in this world, or if not in this world, she's still in this world, you know, for the world is simply sections within sections, recurrence, different wheel. So think of her. Don't think because she's not physically present, she's not aware of it. Think of her and let her see your good fortune. Ooh. Let all of your friends see your good fortune. And go to bed sitting on that view of things, which view implies the fulfillment of your desire, and see how it comes to pass. It may take 24 hours. Some things hatch out in 24 hours. Some things hatch out in a week. Some things in a month, 6 months, a year. I do not know the time interval of your desire. But your desire, your mere wish, is an egg. You laid it. Your wish, you laid an egg. I mean in the true creative sense, not in the theatrical sense. And so you have an egg, and then you simply sit upon your egg and bring it to pass. Let the whole thing come out in this fabulous world of yours. Now let us go into the silence. Oh boy, this could go on and on and on. Good. Question. Neville, you said last Tuesday, that we are inserted into different time intervals as these wheels turn. They're not turning together, they're turning and we're inserted. Now, once before you told us that once you, blank space, like this man, your example of a man putting coal down the cellar, he's always doing that. Now, I can't reconcile that. Would you explain it? I mean, if we're inserted, we leave this sphere and are inserted into another wheel. Are we still doing that? Good question. Answer, no. First of all, the lady is asking a question based upon an experiment that William Ramsay made under a controlled withdrawal from this world. William Ramsay took ether, chloroform, and in his presence were nurses and secretaries, and they gave him these doses of chloroform as he asked for them, and he withdrew from this surface mind. As he went deeper and deeper into himself, he recorded audibly for his secretary to put down what he was experiencing. And he said, I saw, and he was in London, and he saw a man delivering coal to a certain home, and said to his secretary, at this moment in time, one would think that that man was delivering coal because someone ordered coal. But at this degree of withdrawal, I would say that that man is delivering coal because he is part of the eternal structure of the universe. He is always at that moment in time delivering coal. Again, the Seth material delivers this concept wonderfully. Every moment is forever. And in the Neville language, he put eternity in the mind of man. So yes, each moment is a forever. When you get to understand it at that level, each and every single moment is a forever. So if I revise to my friend and I say thank you to her, and I say I lovingly thank you, I love you. It's such a good friend, just an angel, basically in my inner concept. She to me is an angel, literally. So as I say thank you and I love you, this is so wonderful. Thank you, Father. As I go through that whole feeling, I know that I impacted a moment that is forever, because just walking to that store together was a forever. Is a forever, not was, excuse me. Everything is a forever moment. So what he's trying to describe here is that man delivering coal, that's a forever. Each thing you do each day is a forever. Not a forever condemnation, it's a forever moment that you can actually revise. Like I just revised walking to the store with my friend and being in gratitude and being in love. He is always at that moment in time delivering coal. So if you went back to say he delivered coal on the morning of July the 6th, on July the 6th of that year of that wheel, he is always delivering coal. So when Hamlet enters the stage at a certain moment, when he has the argument with his mother and tries to persuade her to assume a virtue, if she has it not, he is always at the moment of the play. He doesn't bring it in at the first act. He brings it in after the murderous thing that the uncle and his mother contrived. So he does not ask the mother to answer. He does not ask the mother to assume a virtue until he knows the mother is in need of that radical change of attitude. So he couldn't come before. But at that moment of the play, he's always trying to persuade her to change her attitude. That's the whole vast structure. But we are not the garment that we are wearing. We are that being that God is bringing forth. On the surface, we are no more than the eggs, but buried in us is God, and God is bringing forth himself. His creative power, which is personified in Scripture as his Son. Question, blank space, where Jesus rose from the tomb and Mary approached him, and he said, "Do not yet touch me. I have not yet ascended to my Father." Answer, did you hear the question? Do not touch me. I have not yet ascended to my Father. First of all, this is a mystery. We can't see it as a man getting out of any tomb. Can't do that. The drama takes place in you, Bill. The whole thing takes place in you. After it takes place in you and you're completely ascended, everything that has happened as told in Scripture or the gospel is only a revelation of the risen Christ. And so in the appearance of a man, that great title, Lord, is conferred upon any man to whom Christ has risen. So he's telling the story. The world is now his Mary, as it were. And they're trying to, you can't touch it through the flesh. You can't touch it in any way whatsoever. I have ascended, but not completely until the body is taken off. And so, blank space, while one is still in the body, while he still tells the mystery as he experienced it, let no one try to touch him to make something spectacular out of him. This man doesn't need to be worshipped. He said, worship God. I am a man just like you. So he's asking the whole vast world not to make an idol of him. He hasn't yet ascended, but when he does, he goes no place other than where you will be in the not distant future. So it's a drama within a drama. It's a mystery. If you tell it as it has been told of some little place where someone came out of a tomb and the only tomb out of which Christ ever rose is the skull of man, and he can't show it to another. They either believe it or don't believe it. And most did not believe. So he told them so he told them what happened. In fact, those 5 words at the end of Luke are the most provocative words. They related their own experience. They told what had happened. And then to most people who heard it, they seemed like the words of an idle tale and did not believe it. And so out of man comes this fantastic, glorious being, which you may try to show to another, but the eye is veiled, they can't see it. And even he who wears the garment is not aware of his glory while still in the body. But he knows what has happened to him, and the whole thing has happened in Scripture has happened to him. And the whole thing that has happened in Scripture has happened to him. Of course, one translation of that statement is this: do not hold me back. That is what Moffat has. Instead of do not touch me, he has that translated, do not hold me back. That you, by your sense of loss, will bind me to where you are. For I'll always be called by you for your sense of loss. Then do not hold me back, let me go. So the sense of, blank space, if someone that you admire as a teacher and hold them high in your mind's eye is now departing from the world, your sense of loss and their feeling for you would hold them close. Do not hold me. Do not keep me back. For I can serve better when completely free and then control from above. That is a heck of a sentence to unpack. And I don't even know if I can do it. Do not hold me. Do not keep me back, for I can serve better when completely free and then control from above. So in my case, good night. That was the end of the lecture. So in my case, when I'm revising and I have my friend and I'm revising in the 4th dimension, which is the real dimension. So I know it's happening. So in that body, in that state, I know the reality of it is. It's the only place I can control reality is in that 4th dimensional state. And I got a feeling that that's where he is saying when he says from above. I can serve better when completely free and then control from above. Remember, above is always up here in imagination. So if he's completely free and not held back in the physical state, but goes into the spiritual state, i.e. leaving the body, i.e. leaving the party, i.e. passing in, whatever you want to call it, to the next world. Great lecture. Oh my goodness. In the beginning, I thought he was really going to go deep into the law, but he really is not shy about the promise still. 5 years in, and he's still, man, I mean, I can't even imagine what his meditations were like. God has a purpose. May 22nd, 1964. We'll see you in the next one.